me sort my hair.
Yeah, yeah. All right, folks, we are live, and as you can see, we were having a bit of fun backstage, where some people were trying to fix their hair, and someone was discussing things like how do we you know get into more um, the money part of our life. But thank you very much for joining in. Uh, Today is the second podcast that we're doing live together, and we're expecting maybe Hafsa joining in. Hafsa, are you there? Yes, yes,
Hello,
yes.
everyone.
She
Hi.
is here.
Hi,
Finally,
Hafsa.
Hi
the
Hafsa,
world
welcome back.
Hi.
traveler, the world traveler is here. She's just
Yes,
back.
after 2 months, I'm back home.
Yeah, so she's back in California
Yeah.
now, and last I spotted her, she was in Dubai. So
Yes, I
she
was
took
in
a.
Pakistan for my younger brother's wedding first, and
All
then
right,
first for Eid, Bakra Eid, and right after Bakra Eid, it was my brother's wedding, and
all
then
right,
Dubai.
Good to
awesome.
see you.
Yeah, same here, likewise.
Awesome. And we are very, very excited, Hafsa. Uh, so you probably were there last time, maybe you were listening, but we did 28 weeks of our podcast, the audio podcast, and then there was a huge gap, the big gap in between because LinkedIn discontinued live, audio live, and we got busy in so many other things. But Doreen and I we kept talking about like starting live again, and here we are doing the second week of our LinkedIn Live. So, folks, thank you very much for joining in. Please tell us where you're joining in from. We will be able to see your comments, and we would love to see your comments. This is the best mentoring podcast on LinkedIn, and believe me, I say it with total 100% conviction because the mentors that are with you have got global experience, and we really want to help you. So we are taking time out from our work day, which is still Friday for us in North America, and we are contributing this time towards your growth, and we will be responding to your questions. Today's topic is okay. So if my voice is breaking, I really can't do anything. It might be the internet, but it should be okay. We have one more guest speaker coming in today, and today's topic is just I would call it like it's the current topic. It's the topic of today. We should really be not only discussing it, but also we should really be working towards achieving something around this topic, which is AI. And today, LinkedIn published this survey, and so they published this LinkedIn workforce confidence survey occasionally, I think twice a year, I think, but this one is just out, and the crux is that job seekers are more worried today than they were during the peak of the pandemic. Just think about it. Only 3 years ago, almost, people were not as worried as they are now. Now, what we are seeing massive layoffs in big tech companies. We are seeing AI rapidly kind of seeping into our lives. There is economic uncertainty, and just think about it. During pandemic, there was economic uncertainty, but now we have economic uncertainty still, and rising competition. So these are the four areas that this report has highlighted, and there are six facts that I would like to share. I did a post today, just kind of summarizing the report, and so far the post has done really well. I think in the past an hour and a half, I think I've got more than well, close to 9,000 impressions already. So sometime the magic happens. So they have got this like benchmark of confidence level, job seeker confidence level. During pandemic, it was +9. Now it's +6. there is a 25% drop in hiring since pre-pandemic level. So fewer jobs in the job market. 8.4% drop in hiring between May and June 25. Most of this data is from the US, which is, I would say, one of the biggest job markets out there. Uh, Now, this point is really, really very important for us. I think we'll discuss it also during this today's session. 1 in 3 U.S. employees now has a side hustle. That's very important. This is like probably one of the most important points that I would like to discuss today. 1 in 3. 647 billion is the size of the gig economy, and they're projecting it to go hit $2 trillion by 2033. And there is, so they give a number zero, which means that's the number of industries AI won't touch. So frankly speaking, AI is going to be around us. We will never be able to um, you know get rid of it. There's absolutely no way. It's only going to be more into our lives, which it already is. So what we should do? I mean, what's happening? How is it impacting us? And so all the mentors, there was this question that came to my mind was, and I put it on our exclusive chat that we have. We prepare for these sessions. So, is it actually transforming our lives, or it is actually impacting our lives? What is what is the difference between the two? That's my starting point. But before I go around the table and like take a 30 seconds introduction from everyone. Thank you very much for joining in. Please tell us, where are you joining in from, and is AI impacting your life, and are you worried? So just share in the comments, and we will definitely be able to do this exactly. We are going to show your comment on the screen. Um, so thank you, Sudha, for joining us. You've been great. So how? So let's go around. Quick introduction. We'll start with Afsa, and then we go around the table.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum everyone. So I'm Hafsa. I am tuning in from California. I am a marketing professional and I work with tech startups in the domain of marketing analytics, content creation, content pipeline, all these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Asanta.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ehsan Qureshi. I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada. I've been in HR for 20,000 years, and that's my passion, working closely with people and organizations to, to impact bottom line for both career aspirations and business.
Superb, Irfan.
Hi everyone, I'm based in Toronto, and like Asan Saib, I've been around for a millennia. Have been a CFO for 35 odd years, and uh, I have my own practice since last 10 years, and I have a side gig. I coach CFOs and CEOs.
Awesome, and our amazing Doreen Fernandez.
Hi, everyone. Where am I today? I am on a beach somewhere in the Caribbean, mentally, but physically here in Toronto. Happy to be here this Friday. I do a few different things. I write people's stories, I write for businesses, but right now I'm focusing my my stuff on job search or career coaching, I should say. I do resumes and interview coaching and networking coaching just to help people out in terms of giving them a leg up in today's day. And that's what I do.
All right, amazing. And this is Hamas Siddiqui. You're joining in into my feed, but mentors, you can also share this feed so that more audience could come in. So if you just do that, and anybody joining in today, if you want this feed to go far and you want to help more people to learn something, just press the repost button on the feed, and you just repost it to your audience. This is going to help them learn, and it will help us reach out to bigger audience. So, so today's point, before we talk about Mr. Sinha, that ChatGPT is a tiny part of the bigger AI, domain. Probably like a uh, not even, I won't even say micro. It's kind of a nano part of this bigger AI domain, which is actually impacting our lives. But the question is it really impacting our life or not? That's my question. Anybody who wants to respond?
So yes, in a nutshell, it is impacting our life in various ways. So here's two broad themes. There's a lot of change going on the way we deal with certain things. So, for example, repetitive tasks in any function and any profession. And the other part of that, which is much broader, things are being transformed. For example, I'll give you an example from finance side. We were dealing with a client which had 300 invoices a day coming in, and they had 4 people full time doing it. And they were behind two weeks all the time. We introduced DEX, DEXT, which is AI managed software, and it cut down work. The just sheer speed of it was astonishing, really. I introduced that in March 2024, and it was processing 110 invoices an hour. So the transformation was, we unfortunately had to let go one out of the 4 people. The other two were retrained. And the landscape is constantly changing. There are a lot of AI agents and et cetera, et cetera. But I think the biggest takeaway from me from that particular experience, and I've repeated that exercise at least 3 times since then, is people have to learn to retrain. This may sound like this is the biggest thing, and it may end up being the biggest thing. But since the caveman came out of the cave and invented the wheel, we have disruptive technology. So it is changing, it's transformational. But I think as human beings, we'll have to learn to cope with that, and we can.
Absolutely. So the bottom line again is something that we all keep talking about is upskilling and reskilling and maybe unlearning few old things. The processes are changing, and it actually saves time, and time is precious. Hafsa, in your space, because it's tech and a lot of other things within tech, analytics particularly, how do you see this transformation happening?
Yeah. So first of all, I think there's a big myth out there that it's only impacting tech jobs, which I do not agree with. AI has been transforming across industries, you name it, from finance to retail to health to everyone, supply chain. Yes, tech has been the most. I would say they are the ones who are adopting it really fast. So the question is not that if it's a because we are part of the fourth industrial revolution right now. So there's no denying that AI is impacting us or AI is transforming us. So there's like no denial for that. It's all about how you are actually not competing against it, but how you're adopting it, how you're embracing it, how you are upskilling yourself in terms of the processes, in terms of the tools that you're using. Like ChatGPT is maybe one tool that put AI into mainstream, that every even under 18 kid is using ChatGPT and giving different prompts, things like that. So in particularly in my field, in tech startups, in marketing, in content creation, generation, so I can automate tons of stuff. My research time has minimized a lot. So I have been using AI as an optimization tool. I am not sitting here and telling people or arguing or debating with everyone that how it is taking our jobs or replacing everything. So it's not a replacement problem. It's more like a skills and gap problem. New emerging titles are coming up. For example, now prompt engineering has become a sudden buzzword in the last couple of years. Now if I'm looking for a job or if I'm looking for a new client, I have to use the right keywords. Otherwise the AI, even the employers are using AI powered systems that would match with the right keyword with my skill set. If I'm not like aware of these things, if I'm not using these things, then that's my own disadvantage. So it's part of just staying in the lane, keep updating yourself. Again, use it like an optimization tool, use it like something that can help you advance you in your career regardless of where you are in. For example, if you are in marketing and you're using a CRM system like HubSpot or Salesforce, you should know that now they have uh, updated AI agents in it. Just I think yesterday, ChatGPT also introduced his agent, like general AI generated agent. So these are the things that you have to stay updated, and nobody knows the answer to everything. It's a very new, I would say, it's something that is evolving at a very high pace, and everybody's learning on the go. So it's people who are actually embracing this and learning with the speed of the change that AI is producing new and new stuff. They are the ones who would be at advantage in getting new work, or keeping the climbing up the ladder high. For example, even content generation, I keep hearing this advice everywhere, online, offline, that nobody needs content creators right now. It's not about that. It's about people are actually, employers are looking for people who are AI literate, who are data literate, who are AI affluent, because you still need human mind to give these prompts. So you need to understand what kind of prompts to give in, what kind of work to get done from these AI systems. So they are here to help us. So I'm not gonna do the scaremongering that they are replaced. But in news, all sorts of stuff come out, and you should be aware of the dark side of each and everything. But having said that, I think anyone, regardless of what age or what industry you are in, I think, Hamad Sahab, you asked a very good question in our chat. So I was just giving you a very small example. I was away from my home for 2 months, and how was I, like, as a human, how was I being impacted by AI? If we have this AI powered ring system at home, so we would figure out, is this like a male coming up, or is this an animal just crossing our street, or is it a human? So it's like, AI is helping us with safety, with anything. Like, we have smart assistants at home, Alexa, Google Home, things like that. They know my shopping list, they know my grocery list, they set up a reminder, things like that. So again, like, we can't really push against it. We have to collaborate, and the great stuff will be coming out with AI and human collaboration in future. Thank you.
Hamad sahab, you are mute.
Sorry, I've got a like a witty question in my mind before I invite Sana to join us. Sana is an educational enthusiast, and she is into AI. So I requested her to join in to share how she's thinking this whole space within the education industry is changing. So before I invite her to the stage, what was the first thought or first memory of AI or something like AI that you all experienced or saw? Anybody?
I think it was 23 when ChatGPT became common knowledge. And the first thought that came into my mind, my research time on various clients will go down substantially. And it does, and it did. So
Mm-hmm.
I was being lazy. So I think the time constraint that we, excuse me, which we all are under, having multiple clients, that actually has helped. As Hafsa said, if you automate and have a pattern of certain things, create a, how shall I put it, a a formula, so to speak. You can use ChatGPT. So that's the first thing I remember doing. I think it was December 23. The research on clients and what sort of question I'll ask, and I just automated it. Did that.
My first memory is when I was in my high school doing my 10th grade, and I bought a calculator. That's my first memory of things changing. And there is no stopping since. I mean, if you look at, I did GW Basic. I'm sure I mean, most of us don't even remember what GW Basic was. Like, it was a COBOL or GW Basic. Those were the computer languages or programming languages. I did that in 1984, 85, I think, and nobody remembers that. So that's my first memory. And now you see, uh, and think about it. Our aeroplanes are equipped with AI or things to do with AI. And what is this autopilot? Like, autopilot is something to do with AI, right? Something to do with all the data which it is getting and making decisions as to what to do. But still, pilots most of the pilots, when taking off or landing, they take control. That's what the that's where the Hafsa point comes in. So we have a special guest today, and as I promised that we will try to bring some subject matter experts, if I may put it this way, into this conversation. And today Sana has kindly agreed to join us. Sana, quick introduction, and please tell us how you see things changing in the education sector.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sana Ilyas. I am an educator with more than 13 years of experience in the education industry. I'm also an AI and education trainer, and I also am a country representative for Women Extension. Now, with respect to your question, it's changing education dramatically. I think so. One of the first industries that started thinking about that, okay, what's going to go on was education. My students started using it first, and I always tell this story. I teach in FAST University, and our students are always at the forefront of whatever is happening. So students were using it, and I needed to, and in the start of 2023, I was like, okay, I need to get on board. And that is when I started my exploration, because I knew that, okay, students are going to use it. And if I don't upskill myself, I am going to be left behind. So I need to look into what is there, what are my learners doing, so I'm able to give them what they require, whether that is with respect to critical thinking, how tools are being explored, what are they working on, and in what way can I rework my courses, redesign my learning experiences with my students. So it has been a learning journey, a very big learning curve, and there are so many developments that are taking place that at times, as Hafsa was stating, that it's at times very difficult to keep up with what's going on. But it's for educators, and not only for educators, but for anyone in the industry, any industry, it's really very important that we start learning. And even if you're not doing it right now, we are way behind. Because for example, we are already looking at a lot of layoffs, and that for a lot of our learners and a lot for our students that are graduating or people who are already in the market, that's a very big concern. So if we are not going to upskill, we are not going to give our learners that experience. For me, as I'm talking about it from the educator's perspective. So I try to, and in the last semester, have actually last 2 semesters made it a point to incorporate AI in my courses. Takes a lot of time as an educator, but I have to do it because I want to make sure that I'm giving my learners the skills that I know that they need. For example, AI literacy, learning with what tools are ongoing, and along with that, having them analyze, working with, we explore and talk about what are the tools out there, what are you guys learning, and then I talk about what am I learning. So that opens up the space. But yes, it is disrupting education. If we don't keep up, things don't look well then. So it's important, regardless of the industry we're in, we need to make sure that we are keeping up with the AI developments.
Oh, this is great. Asan Saab, you are in the HR, and you have been in this field for, as you said, about 2,000 years, since 2,000 years almost. So how do you, I mean, of course, working with like massive firms that you'd been part of, and now in the education industry, the transformation that you're seeing in hiring, firing, and everything in between, and people's ability to do better in their interviews, to do better onto their job. Like, this question could become very complex if I just keep going. But what are some of the changes that you are seeing?
So thank you so much, Ahmad Saab, and thank you, Sana, for for your illustration on how it's impacting education sector. So I also, just so you know, I mean, all of us know here, like I also teach part-time at a couple of universities here in Toronto, and exactly the same thing is happening here as well. Now, the students, just from a semester-wide, they are way better prepared than us as educators. So they are like 2, 3, 4 steps ahead than the institution and or the instructor. And that's where it's kind of negatively impacting their critical thinking, and they just go to chat gpt to get everything. Now again, that's one part of it. To coming back to Hamad Sahib, your question, what I have seen, or I've been consistently seeing in organizations and in recruitment, in performance related decisions, and in all that, is that companies are using AI to augment and predict certain trends around individuals. And those trends, either on performance or potential driven, they are recommending some people to stay or leave the organization. In the good old days, we used to do those things manually. Manually, in the sense that we will sit in the executive team would sit together, go through employee profile, discuss pros and cons. Now all that thing is taken over by AI. Now, because it becomes so quantitative, that's the risk factor, because the human element is getting out of it. So it's like robotic decision. Now, in terms of the workforce getting smarter, we know when I'm interviewing someone, they are coming well prepared. All the applications or resumes are not written entirely by the individual. They are written by a chat GPT, Copilot, Gemini. These smart individuals would tailor it based on the job description and use the human factor to it. But again, the one thing is, you can get into the interview, or you can bypass the ATS system, or applicant tracking system, which is a robot. But when you go into the interview, that's where I see that people just falling on their faces because they don't know what they have written. So that is the disconnect, and that's what kind of reiterates Sana's point of critical thinking missing. So that's what I am seeing in the organizations from a HR perspective and from an education perspective. Now, one thing which I would add here is way back in, I believe it was November or December 2023, when the first module of ChatGPT came out, and I very distinctively remember I was finishing my PhD thesis. So I started using ChatGPT to give me some references on a particular topic. And at that time, it was creating fake citations. Now it has developed. Now there are a number of tools that have gone into it. Now, so what I'm saying is that there are pros and cons of using ChatGPT or any AI-based application. As we move into now, individuals like you, me, or anybody on the floor can go in and create their own AI agents like ChatGPT. So I can have an SNGPT or Hamad GPT, and you can actually design it to fit your needs and your requirements and your audience. So this is how fast we have evolved in the last 12 months.
Yeah. So, and interestingly, yesterday my younger daughter, had an interview, kind of a test, online test. So she applied for a job at Ontario Court. So the court service that we have in Ontario, and she was prompted by an AI agent with an audio and a typing test. And it was all virtual, and so it was like a 35-minute thing, which she did, all virtual, all AI based, and that's it. So certain advantages that I see of this kind of a thing, you could actually do, you can actually scale it very quickly. So instead of one person interviewing one person at a time, you can actually roll it out to a very large audience and get the data, get that information that you're looking for into your system, and system then filters that information based on what we are looking for, and it just becomes a little bit more easier. I personally feel that human element, or we cannot exclude the human element, so it has to come in. And I know, as Irfan said, finance functions, okay, a lot of AI is coming in, but I'm sure the CFO's position, AI cannot take CFO's position. somebody has to see, look at the process, whether the process is right or not. We have Hafiz Abdul Manan, who is a cybersecurity, data security expert. And the question is, do you think replacement of AI with human-oriented roles is a mature act? I mean, I think we agreed. I think it's not going to happen, and I don't really see it happening. Unless we try to do something extremely radical at this stage, I think human factor will remain, and those people who are training themselves um, in AI would win. That's very simple.
I also just
Uh,
want to add
sure.
one point
Yes.
here is I recall last year there was a publication by the World Trade Organization, and they conducted a meeting in Davos, and they actually highlighted some of the roles that will go away and some of the roles that are going to be created. So they created a list, or they had a quadrant, and I'll see if I can find it, and I'll share it in my post. But that they actually tell you which positions are going to be replaced by what positions and what skills. So we actually, from a human perspective, we know what things we need to unlearn and upskill ourselves to stay competitive in next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And that is a list that is something that is going to go and get updated on a regular basis. So looking at those trends, whether human touch will stay there for a smaller part of it, whether we like it or not, it will replace. But at the same time, we need to adapt quickly to reskill ourselves for the newer skills that are needed for the future
Hmm.
of organizations.
Yeah. And so Doreen wanted to say something, and then Afsa. But before you say anything, but just think about it. As we grow in our age, particularly at the age of 50 plus, our learning capabilities slow down significantly. And that actually is something that I see ageism. People are unable to train themselves as fast or as quickly as much younger people like Hafsa or Sana would do. So, Irfan Saab, Hasan Saab, let's start thinking about retirement. Over to you, Doreen.
There is no such thing as retirement, Hamad Saab. You ask my wife, and she said, "You know what? I don't care. You're never going to retire. I don't want to see you at home."
Yeah,
That's a different issue, essence of.
yeah.
I'll take that as a huge compliment, Hamad, that you did not lump me in the same category as Irfan and Asan, but I am there with you guys. But this topic is so wide and it's so deep. And in terms of looking at impact and transformation, yes, it's doing both. Where I sit, I see it as a positive thing, not a negative thing. And I have a couple of scenarios that, recently come to light for me. And in terms of my own coaching, career coaching practice, I think a few people here have touched on it. I think Essen has touched on it as well, that you can use AI to create a fantastic resume. Let's be honest. How has that impacted me? It has to some degree, but not completely, because how are you going to speak to your resume in an interview? So that's the key thing here. Communication as a soft skill will never ever be replaced by AI. I don't care who you are and what you think. That human element will never be replaced. And something that Sana says as well, in terms of educating our youth, they're great at data analytics. They're great with AI tools. Their fingers move so quickly across that keyboard. But where's that human element? Are we teaching them great leadership skills? Are we teaching them, impact and influence skills, how to deal with people, how to deal with ambiguity? There's so many factors involved there. So, yes, look at the human element before you look at the technical negativity of the situation. Now, the other point I wanted to bring, and I'll do it really quickly. I know there's a lot of discussion, but it's a good story. A good friend of mine is a CEO of an investment and insurance company, and he has built an application that will help the business run more efficiently. So, as you know, the investment and insurance business is very highly regulated. There's so much compliance that goes on behind the scenes that you have to dot the I's and you have to cross the T's, and that takes a lot of time. But with this application, the advisor is able to do that in a blink of an eye. And what that does for them is allow them to spend more time wrapping their arms around their clients. And what does that do for the company? It boosts the sales, right? So when you look at the human element again, yes, you could do so much legwork, but the important factor here is you need to connect with your client. If you're too busy inundated with paperwork, you're never going to be able to do that. So that's how I look at AI from where I sit too, besides the creative aspects of using it. But let's give that human element more visibility than the technical part of it.
Hafsa, do you want to
Sorry,
Yeah,
add
so
in?
I
Or
just wanted to add to the question. I think Hafiz Saab asked regarding is that a mature act or not. First thing I would say, it doesn't really matter about if it's a mature or immature act. It depends on your intent on how you use AI. And two examples that I can think of is basically if companies or organizations are just using it blindly for cost cutting, that's not very sustainable, because you're going to just end up losing tons of people that might be useful if you just retrain them or reintegrate them by giving them the AI powered skills. And number two, it's like, no, if you have no human intervention, you can have very biased and unfair outcomes in terms of legal cases or hiring cases. So you can't really solely rely on AI, like everyone said, but it really depends. The level of maturity in terms of leadership depends on your intent and the kind of impact you want to achieve. And it applies to any sector.
that's correct. So the question from Ashfa says, she says, in what ways can we leverage generative AI, not just for automation, but for strategic decision making and innovation at scale? I know people are using generative AI for programming, for instance, right? The amount of time that was required to write a syntax has been reduced significantly. So that's at least one thing that I could recollect or recall here. But anything else anybody would like to add to this question?
yeah, can you put that question back again, please? So, with regards to strategic decision making, everybody, Hassan Saab, Doreen, Hafsa, and our guest has touched on it, called it critical thinking, human element, all that. If I bring it all together, it needs contextualization. You need to have the context. You can't just go in, ask question without giving the whole context. That's where the human element, as Doreen said, has to come in. Strategic decision making required an understanding of your environment, not just your corporation, but how the corporation fits in the local economy and the broader economy. If you're an international corporation, so unless you understand that context or you feed it in, which is a lot of writing, you're not going to get the right decision. Asking question out of context, getting piecemeal answers. I think I just said it will destroy the company from within. You're not doing the right thing. So strategic decision making require the human brain. At the moment, we haven't got to a place we have a Terminator 3. I'm sure it's coming in 40, 50 years time. But the human element or contextualization of the problem is so important. And I think this is a missing piece with AI. A lot of people, I coach a lot of CEOs and CFOs. They ask, how do we do that? I said, do you want to tell AI the story of your company first before you ask it to make decision? There's one thing replacing repetitive uh, tasks, like in finance, for example, or in other professions. But to build a broader, cohesive team of any type, one needs to understand the big picture. And unfortunately, and at least in my experience, I don't use AI a lot, but what I do use is mostly for research. But I have to tell it, what am I researching for? before it gives me the appropriate answer. Otherwise, it'll just take me to a blind alley saying, okay, this is what you're looking for, which I may not be.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah,
persona.
I think
Yes.
one of the things I would add, Irfan Sahab, there is also decision making, like organizations, like especially the big players and the new cores, so or the newer startups, they are creating or they are building their own AI models or modules right from the get go. So, like say, I was associated with one of the big fours. They have their own AI or they have their own chat GPT in house. And that particular model, with all the organization's history and client list and all that, with protected whatever frameworks, is actually indicating or giving them insights at a strategic level what to do, what not to do. I know stockbrokers or stock exchanges in North America are buying and selling, or buy sell options or whatever the case may be, based on certain trends that are projected by AI for not just short term but long term strategic business decision making.
So,
Before, yes, yes, Sansad.
sorry,
Because
just very quickly,
Sana
the
wanted to add something.
yeah,
Go ahead.
you're probably right as with regards to a large corporation, but the sphere that I move in under 200 million, nobody has done that yet. But I think the cost will become cheaper.
Yes,
So in future, that
absolutely.
possibly be correct action to take.
Yes, Sana wanted to add something.
I basically wanted to talk about, with respect to, yes, I talked about scale and innovation, and then one of the points that I most of the time basically state is use AI basically as a thought partner. Don't use it already to replace yourself. Because if you're going to use it to do all of your work for you, and this is something that I tell my students as well, and even if when I'm doing trainings, use it as a thought partner. Have it ask you questions critically, get clarity, and maybe use it as a debate partner, and then see that, okay, where is it that if you're running a business, what is it that you need to do next? If you're designing your content, okay, what do I need to do differently? This is what my approach was right now. What do I do next? So don't let it already, if you're planning on already automating your business, your whichever industry we are in at the moment, we are losing what Doreen basically said, that the human element, and it is going to be human skills as we move forward that are going to matter more in an evolving AI world. That is going to be critical thinking that we bring in, our problem solving skills, our empathy. So let's not let AI take over all of those things and then have it prioritize it. Because again, AI by the end of the day may not be able to see, for example, as an educator, a student who's struggling with something, maybe a little bit stage shy. They may not be able to look at, if they're looking at maybe a client's file, they may not be able to see the story behind it and why that is a person that we need to listen to. So yes, do use AI as a thought partner, have it debate with you, work with it along the way, upskill yourself. But with respect to automation, be very, very careful with respect to how you're going towards the next step. Don't let it replace you.
Yeah, so Sana Adil is asking this question: how can mid-career HR professionals upskill themselves to stay relevant as AI continues to evolve? Certification. Before Ahsan Saab, because he's an expert in that field, jumps in, I personally believe that certifications would not help if you don't know how to do. So I think it's all about how. If we could do how part of it, Doreen, is a big fan of talking about how. If you don't know how, your certificate is not going to help you. Irfan, what's your take on this?
Absolutely, Hamas. I totally agree with you. On this particular question, I would say, whether you're a mid-career, early career, or a seasoned HR professional, you need to understand, as Hamas have said, what is taking place and how you need to equip yourself for the changes. Right? I think the big elephant in the room is that we all, in one way, shape, or form, we all are scared and afraid of AI replacing us. Let's face it, right? Now, how well or how best we face the music by by taking it head on and getting ready for the next steps through learning new skills related to AI, right? Whether it's certification or no certification. And again, the how part is more important. And that is going to help you. Like companies at, less than 100 million, 200 million, a billion, whatever the case may be, they are going to start, or they've already started investing in chat GPTs or Geminis, because some of these offers are free. So it's not really costing them anything to do the basic stuff. So yeah, do get yourself acquainted with the HR modules on chat gpt. I do recall few weeks back I was using chat gpt for as a discussion mode, and there was a newer application there which has HR questions. So there was this pop-up that came by, HR chat gpt, so you can ask that chat gpt about Canadian HR related questions. So those are the things that are going to be happening more and more.
Another interesting thing, and yes, Hafsa, coming to you. Another interesting thing for most of those people who don't get an opportunity to get into a boardroom, right? Very, very important point. A lot of decisions that are made in the boardroom are made by the people who are not really familiar with AI as much, right? So this is your opportunity to show up and show off. If you know that you can do something with AI which actually improves the productivity or saves time or saves resources, people would love you. And this is how you start building it up. Safsa, very quickly, I recall, and I've got tons of stories to share. When I was working at the British Deputy High Commission, uh, fax machine was invented, right? The fax machine became more like a norm. In our office, we were still using telex machine because of the encryption and all that. But as technology moves in, you have to bring in new technology. And so my management officer actually asked, because I was the youngest in lot, he said, Hamad, do you know how to use a fax machine? I had no clue. There was no, I couldn't Google it at that time, if you remember. So, but I said, yeah, we can try. And this is very important. We can try. We got the fax machine, and you know what? That fax machine, instead of installing it in the communication room, it was installed on my table in my room because I volunteered to learn how to use fax machine. And the benefit of that is, from deputy high commissioner to management officer, everybody would come to me, take my help in sending that fax. Just think about it. If you take that one step forward, you say, I want to learn. Let's learn. Things change. And Asad, this is a response to your question. Here, have you ever had someone freaked out when they found that you work with AI? I don't think so. I think it's just becoming a norm. Yes, Hafsa.
Actually, before Hafsa goes, I just have a question that I'm going to ask very quickly for the audience so they can think about it. And Hafsa, sorry to cut you off here. Anybody in the audience who's listening right now, are you in a situation where your job is going to be impacted by AI, or has it already been impacted by AI? What is your plan? What is your strategy? If you can put that answer into the box, that would be great. Sorry, Hafsa, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to that certification question. So basically, I would just recommend everyone listening to us learn prompting as a core skill. This is 2025. So, smart drafting and crafting a smart prompt is the new Google it. How trends are changing, how user behavior is changing. So that's one thing. And number two, I just feel that I've like repeatedly answered this question so many times. Google is still free. YouTube is still free. There are tons of certifications out there. I'm speaking from a marketing background. HubSpot Academy is free. So there is a whole new certification on prompt engineering for marketers. So my frustration with our generation and younger than us is basically we only hardly 10% people actually execute upon what they hear, even less than that. So that's my whole thing. So there are tons of stuff out there which there are champions sitting on YouTube, people who have decades of knowledge, and they've given it out for free, the certifications. If you just check out HubSpot Academy, I'm a marketing professional, I love it, it's free. the intensity, the scale, the attention to detail in those courses is amazing. So I hardly I find it very hard to believe that if you have done all of that, and even after doing all of that, you are still struggling to cope up with these AI skills. So my suggestion and my humble request would be to actually go for these skills, try to understand and actually execute upon what you have learned. Even 1% execution would mean a huge thing
That's
professionally.
that's that's amazing. And funny enough, only like couple of days ago, a friend of mine who's a crazy reader like Irfan Saab. He reads when now with all the audiobooks. Every week he would read a book and he would tell me about the book. And you know what I said? I said stop reading. I think you are over consuming your brain cells. You're just getting too much information. There's an information overload on you. And often it's very difficult to connect things. For me, when he talks about a book and something else, it's very difficult to connect. But if it is difficult for me, I'm sure it is difficult for you as well. So slow down. At times you have to slow down, and that's a good thing as well. Don't quit, take action, but slow down and try to execute, as Hafsa said. I mean, if we keep learning and if we are not executing, we are not testing, we are not like challenging ourselves enough, nothing is going to happen. On the learning side of it, I have a question for Sana because she works with young people. And what are some of the questions, if there are any, when you talk about AI? What are some of the things that they talk about?
More or less, they are at the moment concerned about the job market, because at the moment I usually reach first semester, second semester students, and they are in technical courses, major in computer sciences, artificial intelligence, and they are majorly concerned at the moment about what type of jobs will be there once they are out there. So we basically work on fundamentals, and then we see that, okay, let's work on them, whether that's programming, and then let's work on improving your communication skills, because that's going to matter regardless of whichever industry you're going to go in. So this is what we are working with. They're also like that, okay, what are the trends that you're looking at in the 4 years? And I also keep looking into market trends as well. And one of the trends that I'm looking at right now is that companies are going AI first. Look at Duolingo, look at Canva saying that, okay, in technical interviews, we are going to have you are free to use AI. Now, with a situation like this, it means that not only are your AI skills being assessed, your ability to work with a certain AI model, they want to have a look at how quickly are you going to do that? What is your core skill? What's your strategy? And going forward, these are the things that are going to matter. It's not just going to be about that, okay, I know, I can name these tools. How well can you integrate them in your workflow? That's also going to matter. So learners, students definitely are at the moment concerned about the type of job market, but they're also really very excited. I can see students, for example, my second, third semester students, they're working on amazing initiatives right now with respect to AI in healthcare, and building an app that is multilingual for the Pakistani context. And just think about it, that, okay, what are the possibilities that it's also providing? So it's a double-edged sword. It's more or less about how we are going to use it. So if we are going to approach it with respect to fear, it will not help us. If we are going to have a look at, we are going to go ahead, yes, there are possibilities with how we can learn with it, but we also need to be careful about its ethical implications. So I think so that is where we can create a good balance.
That is so. So we have Sayyid Nadeem joining in from Saudi Arabia. He is my partner in crime when we have this Money Mindset Academy. He is the one who brought three of us together, me, Wali, and we created this Money Mindset Academy. And you're so right, Nadeem bhai. We have time. It's just how do we spend it? Do we spend that time in just simply watching um, like YouTube videos and not learning from those videos, or scrolling on TikTok and just watching something that we think entertains us, but I think the most entertaining part is when we get paid. So I think let's focus on that. And I ask a question always, in my sessions, do you use other social media? And people say yes. and I say, okay, which social media you use the most? And they talk. Some people talk about Instagram, some people talk about TikTok, and people don't talk about WhatsApp. And the the there's some kind of a his thing. Yeah, I think it's okay. Uh, Most of the time that we waste is on one platform called WhatsApp, because we just scrolling and we getting like tons of, I would call it, if you allow me to say, rubbish, and we are just trying to consume our brain cells in reading that. So if we stop that 30 minutes of in our day and learn one thing around AI, I'm talking beyond simple chat GPT, just one thing around AI, it will change. Another very important point is your ability to ask questions. If like I really like questions because I end up moderating the session, so I have to have those questions. And sometimes I just create those questions like then and there. And that ability is gifted. Some people have it, some people don't have it. Um, so if you don't have that ability, learn to build that ability or capability, and that things will change. As soon as you want to go, that's fine, unless you have something to add, like very quickly. And all the insights that you have given is just fantastic.
Yeah, I think that just the last point. I mean, before I sign off, is basically, learning and be ready to learn and adapt. Uh, Today we have Chat GPT and AI. Tomorrow there is something else is going to come up. So
That's
it's a never-ending story. We will be moving at a much faster pace with change. So be ready, face it, head on, uh, with positivity, and move forward with it. Thank you.
okay. So we are just going around it, but we only have 4 minutes in the session. Dot at 1 p.m. here, 3 minutes now. We will stop this live. But if you have any questions, anybody who is watching us and will watch us later on as well, please follow us, follow these mentors and ask questions, and we will build next podcast based on your questions. So yeah, any final thoughts around that topic, Irfan Sahab?
I think one of the most important thing, and you mentioned your friend and reading. Reading is the only activity which works on your both left and right side of the brain. If you're consuming information through medium like TV or YouTube, it doesn't help you to use one side of the brain. So reading is very, very powerful. And if you continue reading and applying those, as you said, and learning AI, like prompt, etc., as Hafsa said, really, that's the way forward, especially for anybody under 40.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep reading. Hafsa, you have to drop off as well. Your last parting thoughts.
I had a great time reconnecting with all of you, and I look forward to more sessions. And I think we can go into in depth of these topics depending on the kind of feedback we receive. So again, keep learning and keep showing up. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Doreen.
I just wanted to reiterate, we're of an age, we've been through a lot, we have a ton of experience. We've fallen, we've gotten up, and we've learned how to live. But to the younger generation who are, in the wings, it's so important that we do our best to help them be better for the future. Yes, AI is a great thing for everybody. They're going to grow with it. But let's also bring out the human element in terms of how do we coach and mentor these youngsters to become better people, to become better leaders, to become mentors themselves. So if anybody has any type of opportunity that's going to help them to learn and execute on those things, then this is what we should be doing.
Absolutely. All right. So the special guest we have, Sana. What are your thoughts?
I believe, with respect to AI, and this is what my philosophy is: explore, experiment, apply, and share. Because I've learned a lot by reading, learning from other people. And this is what now I do, that, okay, I've learned something, I share. And this is where I get to learn, and from the educate, not only from the educator community, I learn from marketing specialists, I learn from people in HR, I learn from people, I learn from different leaders, and then I say, okay, how can I apply that in my own context? So I keep on exploring tools, I keep on experimenting what works, what doesn't work, and I keep on asking questions, and that is something that has helped with my learning journey. So everybody should experiment and definitely apply as well. Not only just like I'm learning, but experiment, apply, make mistakes, but be critical of the responses that you're getting. Don't get lost in that. Okay, AI is better than me. We still you keep the human in the loop approach. Because there are things, it is the human element that's going to matter more in the developments that are taking place.
Thank you. And it's all reality, right? We cannot hide from this reality. It's happening right now, and it's happening fast. So choice is very simple. Either be part of that stream, learn it and implement it, or stay in like a caveman and just don't do anything. And something will still happen. You can still be a couch potato in front of your television. Television is an AI, right? So just think about it. It's in our life, and we cannot live without it. With that, thank you very much for joining in. See you next Friday with a new topic. Please ask questions. Share what you want to ask. And if there's any question, we will definitely uh, make that as a priority. And thank you, Sana, for your special appearance today. Sana is part of my LinkedIn training program as well. I want to hear from you about this experience in on Sunday session. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.